motorcycles, getting the power from the transmission to the rear wheel is accomplished in one of three ways: either a drive shaft, a belt, or a chain. Today we're going to talk about just the belt and the chain, which is what the majority of American-made motorcycles use. As you can see here, this is the belt. This is your large final drive belt that attaches your transmission and transfers the power to the rear wheel. What you want to check for first off is tension. When checking your belt tension, you'll probably need to pull off your lower belt guard to expose the long straight stretch of open belt. You need to take your one finger, whether it's your index finger or your middle finger, in the closest to the center of between the two pulleys as possible, and push up and let it down, and push up and let it down, push down and let it up. You need to have no more than 5/8 of an inch total travel from up to down. As you can see by this one, that's about what we have. 5/8 of an inch total up and down travel. One of the things you'll hear if the belt is too tight, you'll hear a singing, whining sound. If the belt is too loose, you'll hear a rapping, slapping sound as that belt hits different parts of the motorcycle as it becomes loose going down the road. This is an example of what to look for in a belt that's in the process of wearing out. See all the white fibers that are sticking out the side and starting to show themselves. You wouldn't normally think that's a problem, but that's a good indicator of high mileage and high wear. One of the things you also need to check, if you see this type of wear on your belt, you need to take it into your nearest mechanic and nearest shop and have it checked for the rear wheel alignment. It may not be the problem of the belt. The problem may be that your rear wheel is out of line, causing a severe wear on the belt, which will cause the belt to wear out prematurely and cause a dangerous situation driving down the road. You need to visually inspect all the teeth on the belt. The most common problem is one or two of these teeth will break off and come torn away, and you really won't notice it at first. You'll feel a slight vibration in the bike, but it'll actually run just fine. If you're missing 2 or 3 teeth, as you can see, missing 2 or 3 teeth, the majority of the belt and the pulley will still grab just fine, but you're running in severe danger of breaking and snapping that belt, which is not only inconvenient, it can be quite dangerous. If this belt breaks as you're driving down the road, it can get balled up in either your transmission or your rear pulley, locking up the rear tire, which, as you can imagine, is not fun at all. If you're considering changing the pulley to an aftermarket custom one like the one here you see here, or changing your belt for whatever reason, it's very important to make sure you count the number of teeth on your belt and or the number of teeth on the pulley. And if you change from the stock system that you already have, you're obviously going to then need to change the number of teeth on the belt, or if you're going to change the number of teeth on the pulley, that's going to change the way your motorcycle drives and the transmission ratio. I would strongly suggest getting with your local mechanic and talk to him about his recommendations if you do want to make that type of change. We've talked about a belt and how it transfers the power from the transmission to the rear wheel. One of the most common and well-known other methods is the chain. As you can see here, a chain does the same thing as a belt, attaches the transmission to the rear wheel and drives it. Now, a chain is very different in a belt in maintenance reasons, although you do have one very good similarity. When checking the chain tension on your bike, you check it the exact same way we talked about with the belt. You're going to check for total up and down travel. You grab with just 2 fingers and move it up and down. You should have no more than 5/8 of an inch total up and down play. The other thing to check for on a chain, which is very different than a belt, is you grab the chain at the side and check for side play. If that side play is any more than 1 inch, your chain is probably worn out. One of the indicators for a worn out chain is the sprocket. When checking the chain sprocket for wear, what you're looking at is the individual tooth. Your individual teeth should have a small flat spot on the tip. If this tip comes to a sharp point, your sprocket is worn out. If you see excessive wear on the outside, if you see any wear on the outside of these teeth, that's an indication of an additional problem, probably a misalignment. With a chain, you can have a misalignment just like with a belt. If your back wheel is misaligned, it'll cause excessive wear on the side, excessive wear on the chain, excessive wear in the entire drive system. The next most important thing when looking at and maintaining your chain is the master link. Unlike a belt, this chain comes in a long stretch, has to be put on, and the 2 ends have to be put together. The most important thing to check when doing the maintenance on your chain is the master link. Your chain is a long series of links that is held together by one link called the master link. The master link is what holds the two ends together and is also the weakest link. When checking the master link, the most important part is the master link clip. This is what holds the whole thing together. The master link clip, first and foremost, is very important to make sure that it's there, but secondly, to make sure that it's on correctly. The side of your master link has a groove in it that this link clips into. So the first and foremost, make sure that this clip is on your master link and is facing in the correct direction. The correct direction is with the rotation of the chain. This clip has an open end and a butt end. The butt end, when clipped on the chain, needs to go in the direction of the flow of the chain, into the wind as it were. Making sure that the clip is on good and tight in the groove and in the direction of the chain. If you cannot find your master link on your chain and think that there is something missing, stop riding the bike immediately. If this master link comes out of there, this chain can and most probably will sling off of there at a high rate of speed, doing a great amount of damage and probably sending you down on the road where you don't want to be.